Alright, crew, we got a new title in the next blank page. We are starting to get into some of those multiplication facts that maybe skip counting is not the easiest for. For some of you, it might still be easy, and I love that for you. But today we're going to talk about other strategies other than skip counting to solve some of these more difficult multiples, right? 2s, 5s, 10s, you can easily skip count those. But now we're going to start talking about the ones that might be a little more tricky to skip count. So our title is Strategies for Knowing My Threes. We're talking about threes today. We've already talked, put a box around strategies. That one strategy could be skip counting. Are there any people who are particularly good at skip counting by threes? Love that for you. Love that for you. It's not my thing, but if you can do that, that's awesome. That is a strategy. Today we're going to learn another strategy. This is the strategy that makes my brain the happiest and is helpful because I can use it to solve literally any math fact, any multiplication fact, which is pretty cool. So just like when you were in first and second grade and you had to add up really big numbers, you might have broken them into smaller numbers to like make a 10. You can do that with multiplication. We've kind of talked about that. We can break it into smaller groups. That's going to be a strategy that we use today. So we're going to break it into smaller groups. Specifically, smaller groups that we know easily. Multiplication gets really large numbers really quickly. We're starting to skip count. We're adding things much quicker. So those numbers can get really, really big. Everyone likes things that are easier. Yes? Yeah, we want it to be slightly easier so that we can do it in our head. Zach, we're writing this down? Making sure we got it. Once you've written this down, I want you to get out one colored crayon. I do not care what color it is. Just get out one crayon of your choosing. Brown? What? I don't care. Crayon, color, pencil, same thing. Okay, let me close that door. Alright, so let's see what I mean by this. We are going to create a 3x6 array with our crayon. I'm going to start out. I'm going to make my 3 across. Actually, I'm going to do this in a color, just like you guys are. Excuse me? Nope, we're going to do the whole thing, just so it's a little easier to see. I got my 3. And I'm doing 6 rows of 3. That's what 3 groups of 6 means. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. You're doing this with your crayon or your color pencil, whatever you got. So far, so good. Now, one strategy we know if we've made our array, could we just count the dots? picture. But we made our dots so we can actually see what's happening. This is 3 groups of 6. So far, so good? Yes? We're going to break this array to make 2 smaller arrays. So far, so good? All right, so with your pencil, I want you to draw a line right down like this. How many groups of 6 do I have right here? 1 group of 6. 1 group of 6. So far, so good? What about on the other side? How many do I have here? 2 what? 2 groups of 6. How many of you are so good at your 1s? How many of you are so good at your 2s? Hey, we just made this 3 into 1s and 2s. Because when I smush it back together, what's the whole thing worth? 3 groups of 6. Does that make sense how I did this? Yeah. All right. What is 2 groups of 6? Everyone's hand should be up now. Because we should know that one. 2 groups of 6. What is it? Ariana? 12. 1 group of 6. All hands should be up. You should know it immediately. Zach? 6. So, wait, how do I use that then to figure out 3 groups of 6? Because all I did was figure out 2 groups of 6, and I figured out 1 group of 6. I hadn't actually figured out 3 groups of 6, but I can use that. What would I do? Heidi, what would I do?
You would add 2 and 6.
I would add what?
2. I'm 12 and 6.
Why?
Because those are you for the other 2 problems. Those are your 2 values. And if you add them together, you'll get 3 times 6.
Beautiful. So this 3 groups of 6 is worth 2 groups of 6 plus another group of 6. That matches our picture. So far, so good. I know that looks like crazy math language, but when we read it, we know what it means. 3 groups of 6 is worth 2 groups of 6. Hey, that's right here. Plus another group of 6. Let's put in some values. What is 2 groups of 6 worth, everybody? What is 1 group of 6, everybody?
6.
So what is 3 groups of 6 equal to? Math. 18. Did you have to skip count by 3s to do that? Did we? No. And we got to use facts that I already know. I already know my 2s. I already know my 1s. I don't have to know my 3s because I can make it with 2s and 1s. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Go to the page. Next blank page. Carl, use the next blank page. 7 by 3 array. Seven by 3 array. 7 groups of 3 array. Ariana, what? So let's just write 7 groups of 3 array. That'll be our title. And then, with your crayon of choice, color of choice, let's draw a 7 by 3 array, or 7 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. Because I need you to see what's actually happening.
I'll see you later.
Clean up your space, Sean. Great. Could I count the dots? But I'm going to break it up into 2 smaller, easier arrays. Next to that in pencil, write 7 groups of 3. It doesn't matter for this because there's no story. So 7 groups of 3 and 3 groups of 7. When we're just using naked numbers, it's not going to matter which direction it goes because we don't have a story to go with it. Now, if I say 3 groups, 3 bags of 7 candies each, that does go a certain way. Do you see what I'm saying? But when we just have naked numbers, you could draw it either way. Because you turned upside down are still up 1. Right? I don't know, baby. Colby? What we are breaking up is we're breaking up into 3 groups of 7. So we're going to rewrite this equation. Because of that commutative property, I can write it as 3 groups of 7. Right? We know that. 7 groups of 3 is worth the same amount as 3 groups of 7. We are breaking up that 3, so I want you to do a little tree, just like when we used to break up things in 1st and 2nd grade. Now, does that 3 really just mean 3? No. It really means 3 groups of a number. Beautiful. I'm not just breaking up 3. I'm breaking up 3 groups. Zach, whatever you're playing with, put it up. I'm going to break up that 3 groups into 2 groups and 1 group.
Hello.
Hi.
The week.
So before our little interruptions, we made a 7 by 3 array. And then we rewrote that equation to say 3 by 7. And we did that just to make it a little easier for us to think about, and because we know that 7 groups of 3 is going to be worth the same as 3 groups of 7. We know that 3 does not equal just 3. It really means 3 groups. And we broke apart that 3 into 2 groups and 1 group. So far, so good. Okay, so now with our pencil, we're going to circle 2 groups of 7. Where is that? Where are 2 groups of 7? Bryson, where's 2 groups of 7?
House.
Okay, then where are 2 groups of 7?
And your rows?
Yeah, each row is worth 7. So I'm going to say, hey, these top 2 rows, that's going to be my 2 groups of 7. So far, so good? Okay, now I need to find 1 group of 7. Where is 1 group of 7? Not a trick question. Where is it? Leo? Yeah, it's right here. Here's my 1 group of 7. Okay, cool, I broke it up, but now what do I do with it? I did break it up into 2 chunks, which is cool, but now what do I do with that? Zach, what am I going to do with it?
You have to add it.
Okay, so I'm going to add my 2 groups of 7, and I'm going to smush it back together. I'm going to add it back together to my 1 group of 7. And I know that that's going to be worth 3 groups of 7. Let's put in some values. What is 2 groups of 7 worth? I should see lots of hands. We know 2s. 2 groups of 7. What is that worth? Tegan? 14. 2 groups of 7 is worth 14. Plus 1 group of 7. I should see everybody's hand. 1 group of 7. Madison? 7. All right, well, what is 14 plus 7? Now it's your question. You got fingers. Use them. Evelyn? Is it 21?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Less. 21.
Absolutely not. Did I have to skip count by 3 to figure that out? No. Could I? Did I count all my dots to figure it out? No. Could I? Yeah. Now, this might seem longer because I had to draw my array and then break it up. So let's talk about how I might do this in my head to really use it as a strategy. Okay? Next page, please. Next page, because I want this to be your title. Go ahead and write this question down as your title. It says, I heard you. How can I use my 2s to help me solve my 3s? How can I use my 2s to help me solve my 3s? Write that as your title on the next blank page. For instance, if I knew 2 times 4, how would that help me with 3 times 4? Ariana? Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Yeah. If I know 2 groups, if I know 2 groups, 2 groups of 4, 2 groups of 8, I'm writing, you're writing. On the lines, too, please. If I know 2 groups, to get to my 3s, what do I need to add? Colby? To get to my 3s, what do I need to add? Mm-hmm. 1 what? 1 more group, right? If I know 2 groups, I can add one more group to make 3 groups, which we know, aka, is my 3s. So I can use my 2s because I might start with 2 groups and then just add on one more group. Which is pretty cool because I'm pretty good at my 2s. You should be writing in pencil. Alright. So let's think about this. Read this to me.
3 times 3 groups of 9.
Alright, 3 groups of 9. I don't want to think about it as 3 groups of 9. What do I want to think about it as? Not 3 groups of 9. Gio? 2 groups of 9, right? 3 groups of 9. And then draw a little arrow. You don't have to write the rest of that equation. So if you hear 3 groups of 9, I don't want you thinking 3 groups of 9. We're writing, Rylan. What?
You said you don't have to, but can you write it?
Okay. I want you thinking, Gio just said 2 groups of 9. But wait, that's not 3 groups of 9, it's 2 groups of 9. So what do I need to do also? 2 groups of 9 and Huxley? And 1 more group of 9, yeah. 1 more group of 9. So far, so good? I'm just writing it in math language instead of English. I do that quickly in my head. 2 groups of 9 is 18. 1 group of 9 is 9. 18 plus 9 is 27. 3 groups of 9 is 27. I did that all in my head because I know my 2s and my 1s. 3 groups of 11. Woo. We're not thinking 3 groups of 11. What are we thinking? Carl, what am I thinking? 2 groups of 11. I'll give you some seconds to write that down. I know I'm getting ahead. 2 heights. Yes. But 2 groups of 11 is not 3 groups of 11. Those aren't worth the same. So what do I need to do? 2 groups of 11 and 1 more group of 11. No. Three groups of 4. I'm not thinking about 3 groups of 4. What am I thinking about? Bryson?
2 groups of 4.
2 groups of 4. But 2 groups of 4 is not 3 groups of 4. So I need 2 groups of 4 and that. And 1 more group of 4. No. Let's try it out. 3 groups of 4. What does that equal to? In your head, do 2 groups of 4. And then add 1 more group of 4. Raise your hand when you got the product. We're doing 3 groups of 4, but start with 2 groups of 4. And then add 1 more group of 4. Jalen?
12.
Is it 12?
Yes.